welcome everyone. Corey here from B-JOLT, and this video is one that I shot actually about 3 or 4 months ago, but I decided that I would repurpose it. It was originally just something I shot for a friend of mine, but since she's already seen it and it was just sitting on the hard drive, I thought let's repurpose it and throw it up on the channel, see if y'all might have some interest in it. It's all about crazy Eye-talian movies of all different genres, mostly horror, but you're going to find some spaghetti westerns, and you'll find some weird exploitation, giallos, of course, and it's not just Italian movies. There's all kinds of crap in here. So basically it's just me running through my movie collection and shouting out anything that sounded cool that I wanted to throw out there. So I hope you enjoy it, and yeah, let's dig in. This is Sergio Martino's All the Colors of the Dark. I know that my lens here is going to have a hard time autofocusing, so I just hope it'll kind of do a good job. But yeah, this is actually a really weird giallo. It's cool though. It's kind of got this kind of eyes wide shut, kind of satanic cult, weird element to it. It's not even really a giallo, but it kind of follows all the same giallo formulas, even right down to the J&B whiskey, which I still have no idea what the hell that's about, but it's cool. Edwige Fenech is in it. She is hot as hell. Sergio Martino, he's kind of the king of the giallo as far as I'm concerned, so that's a solid one. Highly recommended. Anthropophagus. Cannibal movie. I don't know if this is going to be up your alley or not, but this is a really creepy movie. And it's really disgusting and gory and gross and fun. Definitely check that out if you've not seen it. Then we got The Beast in Heat. This is a weird one. Nazi-sploitation with a weird ape creature. It was part of my Sleecember marathon a while back. Kind of an unpleasant watch, but it's like crazy, so you gotta see that if you're really looking for some really weird shit. The Black Belly of the Tarantula. This is another solid giallo. I actually don't remember this one that well. I do remember liking it, though. Yeah, Barbara Bach. It's got all Barbara Boucher, Barbara Bach. It's called the best giallo ever made. I don't know if I agree with that. I think the best giallo ever made, personally, is The Bird with the Crystal Plumage. You mentioned Tenebrae recently, and I would say that's up there, but I don't know. Tenebrae, I love Tenebrae. It's a great movie, but I don't know if I would call that the best giallo ever, because I think it kind of goes into other territory. Buio Omega, also known as Beyond the Darkness, I believe. Another Joe D'Amato flick. This one is really nasty. Definitely recommend that. And then next to it, we've got Burial Ground. This movie is terrible, but in a very entertaining. It's the best kind of terrible. This kid right here, I cannot get my lens to focus, sorry. That kid there in the center is one of the weirdest characters ever shown in a movie. Deviating a little bit from Italian, Kathy's Curse is another one that you just got to see if you've not seen it already. This was just ridiculous. Canadian flick. Just so much fun. Cheesy fun, just great stuff. Love that. One of my favorites of all time, I don't know if you're a big horror fan or not, but I love, first of all, I love the original 1940s Cat People. It's one of my favorites. I have a poster for this up in my room. But the 1988 remake with Natasha Kinski and Malcolm McDowell is absolutely badass. Natasha Kinski, for one thing, seems to be allergic to clothes the entire movie. All kinds of nudity. David Bowie on the soundtrack. Badass. Good shit. Cemetery Man from Michele Soavi, who is a protege of Dario Argento. He did The Church, which I haven't got to yet, but I'll show that one. He did several movies. Stage Fright, lots of good shit. Rupert Everett's in this one. This is an excellent movie. If you've not seen Cemetery Man, really highly recommended. That's definitely one of my favorite Italian horror flicks. And since I just mentioned it, there is The Church itself. This was actually going to be Demons 3, but then Michele Soavi changed the title. It's based on a novel called The Church by M.R. James. Pretty damn cool. I really like that. Ozzy Argento's first movie. I think it's her first movie. Then we got Dario Argento's Phenomena. This is the version called Creepers with Jennifer Connelly from the 80s. I fucking love this movie. I've actually not seen this version of it yet, though. I've had this for a little bit, but I've really actually only seen the original Phenomena version, which is really goddamn good. Donald Pleasance is in it. Jennifer Connelly is in it. I think it was right before she made Labyrinth, actually, she did this movie for Argento. Fucking great. Love it. Love it, love it, love it, love it. Highly recommended. Another Argento flick I'm sure you're already really well aware of is Deep Red. The only reason I'm really showing this one is because this is a unique version called The Hatchet Murders, which is a kind of a different cut than what you would normally see. There's a few different cuts of this movie. Mostly it's kind of known as the international cut. This one is a little different, though. It's just, I don't know. I prefer the regular international cut. It's got almost everything included. This one's a little butchered, but that's the version I have currently. Demons is awesome. This is probably the best, like, horror Italian movie that I've seen. That there's no plot whatsoever. It's just craziness from beginning to end. Hugely recommended if you've not seen the original Demons. There's a whole series of these, and it's another one of those, like, zombie flesh eaters where it's like the first and second movie are connected, but everything else in the series is completely not connected whatsoever. It's like sequels in title only. But the first movie and the second one are actually really, really good. Now here we're getting into some good shit right here. The Devil's Honey from Fulci. This is a really crazy movie. It has the coolest saxophone scene you'll ever see. This is just all sexed up. It's actually a lot of fun. It's not a horror movie. It's not an actioner. It's kind of trying to be an erotic movie, but it's one of those where in attempting to be erotic, it ends up being a little creepier and crazier than half of the movies that are meant to be horror or action. It is a weird, weird flick, but highly recommended. If you see no other flick that I'm recommending, at least look for this one, because, yeah. Okay, I couldn't resist a little shot on video shit, getting away from Italian horror again. Dreamstalker and Death by Love. These are literally shot on VHS in the 80s. This Dreamstalker is a Nightmare on Elm Street ripoff with a dude who's a Freddy Krueger ripoff, but he's like a motocross racer guy. It's like just so bad, it's awesome. Emmanuelle and the Last Cannibals. There's a ton of Emmanuelle movies. Obviously, there's like the original Emmanuelles, but then there's the Laura Gemser ones that Joe D'Amato did. This is one of those. And this is one of the crazier ones. There's also Emmanuelle in America, which is not as tempting sounding based on the title, but it's actually even wilder than this one. Man, Laura Gemser back in the day. Holy shit. The Gates of Hell, also known as City of the Living Dead. This is another Fulci movie. This one, along with Zombie, Flesh Eaters, and The Beyond, are kind of known as the Gates of Hell trilogy. I think The Beyond is my favorite. This would probably be my third favorite, but they're all great. You already know about Zombie Flesh Eaters, obviously. They're all really fucking good. I love it. Ilsa, She-Wolf of the SS. This is like a super notorious flick. God, I wish I could get my damn lens to focus. Unfortunately, this camera is not designed for video, so I'm sorry about that. But yeah, this movie is still one of the craziest goddamn flicks I've ever seen. They just don't make them like this anymore. Nazi exploitation. Holy shit! You could not make this movie today. Well, you can. I hate when people say that. Not to go on a rant, but I hate when people are like, oh, you could never do that today. You can. The reason why I say that in this case, though, is because it would be so damn transgressive, people would throw a shit fit. But it would be kind of hilarious if they did that. I love erotic thrillers, particularly those with Joan Severance there. Illicit Behavior, lots of fun. I got a ton of those. Indecent Behavior. Anything with Shannon Tweed is like my jam, because she was like the queen of the erotic thrillers. And then we got Inferno. This is the sequel to Suspiria. My favorite movie of all time is Suspiria. This is the sequel. I actually was going to see this at the cinema in San Francisco back in 2018, but I did not stay because San Francisco is disgusting. But I still love the damn movie. It would have been great to see it on the big screen. I need to rewatch this again soon. Still deviating from Italian stuff, but I'm going to mention Jean Rollin, the French filmmaker who made a ton of great stuff. He is the king of the lesbian vampire movies. This is not one of them. This is called Iron Rose, but I'm showing it because it's probably my favorite of his films. This is a little bit more of an artistic film, but it's still got some just great elements to it, some very creepy moments to it, and some very sexy moments to it, because this chick here, well, you don't really see her. You no, you don't really see her. Super great body, and there's like the final sequence of her running around nude on the beach is just amazing. Yeah, The Iron Rose, definitely see that. It's not like a crazy cult film, but I think it's like a beautiful, creepy, weird kind of it's just like a dream. It's really something else. All right, here is Irreversible. Now, if you've not seen Irreversible, I can't call this a recommendation. I would call it a movie that everybody should see at least once because it is just devastating. Monica Bellucci is so gorgeous, but this is one of those movies where it's like, oh, it is a rape revenge film. The thing about it is that it is one of those where rape revenge is a genre that works as a catharsis. This movie takes the catharsis away and just beats the shit out of you. And it just leaves you just kind of going, oh, God, this world we live in is disgusting and horrible. Powerful, powerful stuff. I always have to recommend that. Not an easy film to watch. Actually, it's a very difficult film to watch, but I always recommend it. It's an absolutely great movie, one of my all-time favorites. And of course, we always have to talk about I Spit on Your Grave. This is kind of the hallmark example of the rape revenge genre. Big fan of it. So I hated the I Spit on Your Grave remake from 2009, but I actually kind of dug 2 and 3. 2 is kind of the movie that the remake should have been. It's a completely unrelated story, but it is really, really effective. I feel like they got everything right in that one that they got wrong in the remake. And then 3 is interesting because it kind of takes it in a whole new direction, turns it into more of a vigilante story than a conventional rape revenge story. So I actually kind of dug those. But then we get to, oh my God, I Spit on Your Grave, Deja Vu. Now this chick right here, if I could only get the goddamn lens to focus. This chick right here, Jamie Bernadette, she has applied to like every casting call for a movie project that I've ever put out, and I never got a chance to hire her, but this movie is, it is, I really don't quite know how to describe it. It is either the worst movie I've ever seen, or it's one of the most, because it occupies both the space of so bad it's good and just absolutely unredeemably terrible. It's just baffling. It's one of those I have no idea how I feel about it. There are some parts of this movie that are laugh out loud funny, but it's like really awkward because it's not funny, but just the acting is so bad. The acting is so comically bad. It's just, oh my God. I hated this movie, but I kind of want to see it again. I just don't. This is another one. I can't say I recommend it, but if you decide to watch it, I'm very curious to see what you think about it. It's, oh my God, something else for sure. Before I wrap up on this shelf, I'm just going to quickly mention this movie right here, The Kiss. If you can find a copy of it or find somewhere to watch it, highly recommend it. It's actually a really cool little flick from the 80s. I don't see a lot of people talking about this one, so it'd be cool to talk to somebody about it, because I really dig this one. It's a lot of fun. Joanna Peculia, really hot in it. Meredith Salinger, she's still really young in it, but she would become quite the babe in later years. But pretty solid little flick. I actually really always try to mention that one. And on that note, there's also this one right here is another one I don't see enough people talking about, The Guardian, from William Friedkin, the director of The Exorcist. This is like his only other major horror movie that I always really, really like this one a lot. Very creepy movie. And it's one of the few that has a genuine, from the 80s anyway, that has a genuinely great female villain, Camilla. And really fucking good. I dig that one a lot. Okay, getting back on the subject of some crazy Italian stuff, here's Massacre in Dinosaur Valley. Kind of disappointing in the lack of dinosaur stuff. It actually has nothing to do with dinosaurs. It just takes place in a place that is full of dinosaur fossils, but Another crazy Italian movie, like you were shouting out, Strike Commando. This is another weird actioner with it's just so bloody and just so full of inappropriate sex stuff, and just, it's crazy. Like, they only made these kind of movies in Italy. I mean, they did make them in other countries. Japan made some crazy stuff, but it's just such a distinctively Italian schlock. It's fantastic. It's right. I would put this right in that same category as Strike Commando. There's another one here, Night Train Murders from Aldo Lado. This is a pretty solid one. I actually enjoy this one. It's on a train setting. It's pretty cool, actually. It's definitely kind of in the same spirit as, like, well, it says right here, more reprehensible than, well, you can't see it. More reprehensible than Last House on the Left. Also, House on the Edge of the Park, which I believe I skipped. I can actually show that real quick, but that's a good one. I would recommend that one for sure. Here's House on the Edge of the Park back up here. I have just a bootleg copy. Where the fuck is it? Here's House on the Edge of the Park. This is a Last House on the Left remake directed by Ruggero Deodato, the director of Cannibal Holocaust. This is a sick movie. This is some sick stuff. But if you're into that, that would be one to check out. Parasite, because it is the first movie. We talked about Demi Moore earlier. Huge Demi Moore fan. And this is her first movie, Parasite. I think it's her first movie. It's at least one of the first ones back when she was in, I think this was actually before her St. Elmo's Fire Brat Pack days. God, she was so gorgeous in those days. But this is a crazy fucking fun monster little flick. Great effects in it. The parasites are gross looking. It's from Charles Band. Pre-Full Moon, though. It was like back in the Empire Pictures days when he was doing like Ghoulies and stuff like that. Pretty damn cool. Highly recommend Parasite. Personal favorite for me, I absolutely love Return of the Living Dead 3. I love this so much more than the original Return of the Living Dead or Part 2. Melinda Clarke, the girl in the cover there. Oh my God. I think if they made a Batman movie in the 90s, they should have cast her to play Poison Ivy. She'd be absolutely perfect. Just so hot. But it's such a good movie, though. It's like one of the most original concepts for a zombie film I've ever seen, and it's done to absolute perfection. Even though it's directed by Brian Yuzna, who's not known for perfection exactly. He directed Bride, a Reanimator, and Society, which are good movies, but could have been done better by a better director, most people would say, but he did a great job on this one. I absolutely love that. Highly recommend Return of the Living Dead 3. Check that out. That is a good one. That's another one I got a poster of in my room. I got some weird posters in my room. Okay, here's one. Sorceress. Jim Wynorski. Jim Wynorski did some ridiculous movies. This is one that I absolutely love. It's got Julie Strain, who I am in love with. So sad that she passed away a couple years ago. Linda Blair's in this one. Just craziness from beginning to end. Pure 80s sleaze. Just so much fun. I think you would really enjoy that one. Check that out if you can find it. Here is an all-time classic, Spider Baby, one of my all-time favorite movies from the 60s. Jack Hill. Sid Haig is in this very, very young. It's got Lon Chaney Jr. in one of his last movies. This girl here, Jill Banner, is just mesmerizing. This is a really fun, but also really cool movie. It's so well done. Black and white, kind of old school gothic horror meets kind of like mid-60s B-movie. It's just kind of right in that in-between zone. I think it was 1960, actually, or it's in the early 60s. But it was kind of a transitionary piece. It's one that doesn't really fit into the classic era, and it doesn't really fit into like the B-movie era. It's like right in between. It's really fucking cool. Check out Spider Baby. It's awesome. One of my all-time, this is in my top 5 favorite films of all time, Thriller, A Cruel Picture. Now this one is rough. This is a rough movie, but this is, like, I'll just show you. I've got the poster hanging over my TV there of Christina Lindbergh. Of course the damn camera lens will not focus. There it is. Okay. So yeah, I've even got the poster over my TV of Christina Lindbergh with the eye patch, the shotgun, the stolen cop car. It's so badass. So yeah, it's basically like I Spit on Your Grave meets Death Wish. It actually predates I Spit on Your Grave. It was 1973, so it beats it out by 5 years. One of the best movies. This is an old bootleg copy. They do have a brand new Blu-ray that I have not yet picked up, but I will be picking it up soon. Massively recommended. There is a version of this, and I believe this is it, that actually has some hardcore sex footage in it that is not supposed to be there. Like, it infuriated the director. Christina Lindbergh was horrified because it's not her in that porn footage, but they put it in there because the distributor turned out to be a bunch of sleazy guys who decided to market it as Christina Lindbergh's first hardcore movie. And that's why this one is so damn controversial. I've said over the years that if I could ever remake one film, it would be this one, because as much as I love the original, it never really got the proper respect because of that, because so many people condemned it, thinking that's just disgusting rape revenge movie with actual porn scenes in it. Thing is, it wasn't supposed to be like that. So the alternate title is called They Call Her One Eye. My version would be called that because I just think it's a better title. So damn good. Massively recommended. You must see this movie at some point. It is really one of my all-time favorites.